Hey friends, what's up? Sick Matter here. I'm currently dying of a cold, but the show must go on. Welcome to another Deadlock video. On this channel we go over my and your replays, and today we're gonna answer the most commonly asked questions in all of my videos. Who to prioritize in a fight if I start a fight, who do I engage first, who do I shoot, when to fight and when to back out, when to push towers, when to split push, or when to decide to team fight. Really much the basics of the video game in mid to late game, okay? And this is another game where I'm really far behind, or my team is really far behind early on. I'm gonna hide my face because I look like a dork today. And we're right back with the cloak bug. We are on a 1v1 lane against a Haze. And despite of what a lot of people think, Haze is actually a pretty weak character in lane. I feel like a lot of my viewers, a lot of you guys on low rank struggle with Haze, and I'm not calling all of you bad. I think Haze is really, really strong up until you get to like very high level. On very high level, you can punish her pretty easily because she's very squishy, right? And if you know how to play her, she is not that dangerous, especially in lane. That being said, I have the exact same issue you do, which is for whatever reason, I die to her in lane a lot compared to characters that are way weak, stronger in lane, okay? The only thing you really have to watch out for in laning against Haze is her sleep dart. If you get hit by the sleep dart a lot, especially out of position, then you can die very easily because then she can follow up with a punch, etc. Otherwise, she really doesn't do a lot of damage, right? She needs to get a lot of bullets on you to get her stacks of fixation up, and otherwise she's just a very weak laning character. That being said, I'm gonna assume here that you have the laning down if you want to watch more detailed explanations of laning in general, right? Which is always the same thing. We have like 4 videos out by now on this channel where I go over laning stages in more detail. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on the laning here. But TLDR, push up to their creeps, push up to their tower, and then keep up the aggression and make sure that you focus on last hitting the enemy creeps and make sure to deny your own creeps, right? And as you may notice here in a second, I fucked this up completely. I just died twice in the span of 3 minutes, right? I just died twice in the span of 3 minutes, and I'm still ahead in money. That's how little kills matter in the early game. Of course, eventually it's gonna add up, right? The higher you go on level, the more money you have as a character, the more money the enemy will get for killing you, right? But especially in the very early game, you get like almost no money. On level 1, fun fact, 2 creep denies are worth more than a kill on the enemy. And then like on level 4 or something, it's like 4 creep denies, and then eventually late game, you don't want to die anymore, right? But in laning, really focus on your last hits. If you're curious about this build, I do have a build guide out on my main YouTube. I'm gonna link it in the comments. I think this is the best build for Wraith, even more so now with the Wraith changes on the current patch. Wraith got a buff and a nerf. The cards now spawn over her head instead of to the side, so it's easier to hit them. But they do less damage on level 1. They only do 80 base damage instead of 100. But they scale better with, easy kill, easy gunner kill. They scale better with spirit damage. So getting spirit items early on or building more into cards can be very valuable. That being said, I still think that Wraith is a hard carry character that you really want to build around damage and your gun and not your cards. And other people are agreeing with me now. There was like this discourse with Taimo for a long time. Taimo considered right now the best Wraith player in the game. And he built cards. So everyone built cards for like a week. And then Taimo realized himself that he was wrong. And the gun is actually just better. So now Taimo's also back to gun. Yeah. But yeah, notice how we were down 2 kills, right? And now we are at the tower, almost killing the tower at the 5-minute mark with way more money than they have, right? Just because I killed a bunch more creeps. And I have my 2 main damage items for the early game, Mystic Burst and Extra Charge built. Mystic Burst increases the damage of every single card I throw. Extra Charge gives me an extra card. And then I have Card Trick on level 2, which I always level up to level 2 early on. And I only get it this far. And then it's the last thing I level up. Like level 3 cards is the last thing I level up in the game. Because, again, we're building around gun damage, but in lane, the gun damage on early game on Wraith is very weak. Anyways, on this game, we were gonna focus on when to farm, when to teamfight, how to decide to gank, right? And I guess now is a look at the burst damage. He didn't, and this is the strength of Wraith, by the way. I want to play this back one more time. People do not. I don't know why it chose 2 cards. We have 3. There's a visual bug, but we have 3 cards ready, and I'm low on lane, right? So the enemy Haze thinks he can kill me here, right? And if you look at it from his perspective, it looks pretty good, right? It looks like, oh, I'm not max HP and he is asleep, right? At this point, I'm basically half. And now look, I'm so low and she's still full. And look at what happens. Look at what happens. I throw 3 cards and she dies. 1, 2, 3, and she's 1 HP, has to back out, lower than me, and dies. And that is the strength of Wraith in laning. Cards carry you through the laning stage, for sure. Nobody expects the burst damage. 3 cards put out. This lane is won at this point, right? We got the tower really early on. We have double the Wraith's money. But yeah, everyone else on my team is losing, as you can see, right? We're well, not really losing. We're pretty even overall. Right now we have a bit of a gold lead, but that is also due to the tower going down really fast. And if we speed this up a bit, you're gonna notice we're gonna go back to even very fast. This is like the first deviation, I guess. So I want to go over this real quick, right? I kill the tower and push out the creep wave into her tier 2, right? And I see that my creeps, I look over and I see that my creeps are at the tier 2. I cannot safely farm there, right? Because I can get ganked very easily. So this is where I do the first derivation. And I start farming the enemy tier 1 creep camp. Just to get rid of some of the money the enemy has, right? This is usually a creep camp that is farmed by team yellow. I don't know why the colors on the replay are blue and yellow. They should really keep it green and red in my opinion, but yeah. So I farm the creep camp, and now I look for a gank, right? Because I have ult up, and I look, but I notice that both of my teammates here are pushed towards the enemy 7 tower, right? So me going for a gank here is somewhat risky. I might end up dying, or I might end up not getting a kill. So I decide, oh, lane is pushing back into me. I decide to go back to lane, bully the Haze out. Right? She can't sustain against me in lane anymore. I bought bullet lifesteal really early here so I can sustain even longer. And I'm really making sure that the Wraith here is not getting anything. Like, while I'm here. And I don't know if I'm gonna go for a kill here, but like, I think at this point, yeah, I'm gonna stay in lane a bit longer because I realize she's not really last hitting either. Getting this money. And trying to get some last hits here, or trying to get a kill. And I think we might end up getting a kill here. If the Wraith here is alone, I probably get the kill here, right? I see her almost half HP. I go for the lift. I realize she doesn't have a lot of stamina, but I realize there's someone ganking behind me. The pocket is coming in, so I teleport out, play it safe. And in the back of my mind, the number one thing I'm concerned about right now is looking at the 10-minute mark, okay? And at the 10-minute mark, I want to be at one of the 2 bridges, okay? If you guys don't know, at the 10-minute mark, the mid-boss spawns, but more importantly, the tier 3 creep camp spawn, and the little, what are they called? The bonus, like the little slot machines that you can punch for money spawn. So that's a big money boost. But yeah, more importantly, at the 10-minute mark, the two buffs on the bridges spawn. The buffs that last for 3 minutes. They don't last forever. There's a movement buff, there's a health regen buff, there's a casting buff that reduces your casting time, makes your casting better, and there's a gun buff, which is the strongest buff that I could pick up early on. I got cross-map sniped here, by the way. That was a pretty risky play. I heard that the 7 was farming in their jungle, and I barely end up living. And then the enemy... Yeah, that was an insane snipe, bro. Very well done by the enemy of Vindicta. Good map awareness. And that is the number one reason, the number one rule I have actually for Wraith. I really don't want to look for too many ganks early on. Especially I don't want to look for a lot of team fights early on, because team fighting on Wraith early on is very weak. Wraith is really good in 1v1 scenarios early, but not good at team fighting. And she excels at farming. So, in this game I built a bit differently. Usually I go for a Tesla cannon before bullet lifesteal and before Fleetfoot. But because it felt like I had to walk around a bit more this game, because I won my lane so early, I went for Fleetfoot and for bullet lifesteal first. And now right now I'm looking at the time and I realize it is almost 10 minutes. But there is money in front of my face. So if you notice, I buy an item, and as soon as the item is, as soon as I spend my item, I rotate over. And I want to go for the bridge buff, but I realized the enemy Bebop was pushing my tower. So I got the denies on the tower, which is really essential, by the way. If you deny your tower when it dies, the money that comes out, the 4 souls that come out of the small towers, the guardians, is shared throughout the entire team. So you give your team 6 times the money, okay? So it's not just money for you that you deny, you deny 6 times the money. That's why it's really essential, if you can, to look for denies on towers, especially early on. So yeah, now I'm gonna rotate over to the bridge. I see it's not a weapon buff, so it's not that great, but it's a movement buff, so that helps, right? This is gonna last for, I think, 3 minutes, or until I die. At this point I have Tesla. I am pretty far ahead of everyone else in the game. I'm at 10k, and I'm going mega greedy, actually picking up the other buff as well, which my teammate steals right in front of me. It's not too bad, actually. It was a casting buff. Should have been the paradox here. I realized we're fighting. I follow up on it. And that was a very poor choice. Not only did I go very deep, it was also that I mistreated rule number 1 for Wraith early on. Avoid big team fights. And that was a very big team fight, you know. Like, for whatever reason, my entire team grew up there, but also the entire enemy team grew up there. So at this point, I'm like, yeah. And I'm gonna go and farm, right? So I'm going to the lane that has the most creeps. Pushing to my tower. Farm those. And at this point, my farming speed is already very, very fast and efficient, right? I can move around very fast. I have fleet foot. And now I'm just not gonna worry about objectives as much. I realize my team is over fighting, right? They keep on fighting and they lose that team fight. But this is actually a thing I want to talk about. In a lot of games, you see one team grouping up really early on and playing as 4 or 5 and pushing a tower. And people ask me, how do I counter that, right? I can't win a 1v5 or a 2v5. That is true. The way you beat this is you push out every other lane, right? Yes, they can group up early and go on one lane together and push the Guardian, for example, or the Walker. But it's going to cost them a lot of time and a lot of money, right? Because this time they're spending together, they're going to farm less. Other waves are going to push into them, right? So every single wave that's fighting here, they're losing money, right? And if I push other lanes, I can put counter pressure on their towers. So if I don't even know who the fuck that is. That's Shiv. The new icons are confusing me. So if my Shift pushes out this lane on the left and I push out the second lane and they end up regrouping and pushing this lane together, they're gonna lose a lot of money, right? Right now they're ahead because my entire team died multiple times, but here I'm really worried about split pushing and getting money, right? And they're still grouping and they're still fighting. And I'm just sitting here farming. And as long as I can farm safely here, I can get ahead and carry in the late game. I took their jungle here. This is like the room with the most money in the game. And I took theirs. Get out for free. Rotate back to my side of the lane. And now I farm my jungle. And this is another thing I can talk about here. It sounds pretty basic, but I'll mention it anyways, right? So what I do here is I go back to my side of the lane. And I see there's still... I buy, and I see there's still the tier 2 camp up. And the punching machine, whatever its name is, right? So I go for this, and I'm about to punch, but I realize there's 2 creep waves, right? Pushing my tower, and no one is here. So there is no reason for me to hit the slot machine right now. Because this gives me just as much, if not more money. And if I wouldn't go over here, nobody on my team would get this, right? The jungle camp can wait for a second. And now I'm going back and finishing it. Jungle camp can wait, but any time a lane is not occupied by one of your teammates, you're missing out on money as a team. So really, what you want to think of as in the mid game, it's about the efficiency as a team, right? You want to farm every lane efficiently, and you want to farm your jungle efficiently, and if you can get greedy, you even want to farm their jungle, all while staying alive. Right? That is the ideal scenario. You can also go for objectives and push enemy towers together as a team. But that's not necessarily gonna win you the game overall. Because again, you're sacrificing a lot of income for it. Right? So enemy is pretty deep in our jungle here, farming our jungle on the left. And I see there's some people around, but again, following my rule and just farming up. And the next time you're probably gonna see me look for kills is as soon as I have my second tier 3 item, which is gonna be Intensifying Magazine. After I get Intensifying Magazine, I'm really gonna pick up the pace in this game, and I'm really gonna pick up on my damage. Before that, I'm only really good at 1v1ing and efficiently farming. But after, I will probably be able to contest anyone on the map very easily. And again, enemy team keeps on fucking 6-manning, right? Or 5-manning. I see they grouped up a lot. And if my team would be making a call here to fight together, I would help them. And here, I hear the Warden. And right now I bought my Intensifying Magazine. So now I'm looking for a fight. But I am very deep here. I do have my TP up to get out alive. And I'll rewind here for a second, just to make this clear, right? So as soon as I have my Intensifying, I know we can fight, but I'm pretty alone here. And this is a pretty risky move by me. I hear that the Bebop is ulting the creep camp, okay? But this is still a risky TP because it could be more than just a Bebop here. The only info I really have is that the Warden just left middle, or left my camp, my store, right? And I know that one of them, the pocket, is on my side of the map, but I don't have any info on the rest of them. That being said, I do have a bit more info, okay? I see that my Viscous is pushing their Walker, and it's not contested, okay? So getting this is really valuable for my team. It opens up the map more, and it gives our team a lot of money. And I would assume that at some point, at least one person is gonna come and defend, right? Even after his Walker is down, someone is gonna, of the enemy team, is gonna come and defend this lane, right? So this is a very risky play, and honestly, looking back at it, not the greatest, but the reason I did it is the Bebop is ulting the enemy creep camp, and if you guys don't know how the laser works on Bebop, it has a very slow turning rate, so I know exactly where he is right now and what he's doing. I know he's ulting the enemy creep camp, so I know if I can get behind him and get a fast lift, I can probably burst him down before he can do anything to me. Right. He tries to get out, but look at the burst damage. We get the kill, and as long as I live here, that is 100% worth it, and I do. So I know Vindicta is middle, and I always keep my eye on the map. I always keep my eye on the map and try to play safe. At this point we have mid control, there's 4 people on my team around me. There's no way, or there's a very small chance that the enemy is 6, but as you see, they're grouping up again. And now we're enough, Ooh. That was rough. Yeah, and now we're actually in a situation where it was 4 versus 5 for the enemy team. And I get caught here. Not really by the haze. I could have ulted, like, or 1v1 the haze here, probably, very easily. And I had TP, but the reason I can't TP out is because I get staked right away by the Vindicta. So I'm sitting in the haze ult, and the Vindicta is shooting me, and I end up dying. So that was definitely a misplay by me. And again, in this case, it's probably just a bad idea to play safer, push out other lanes. And if you have a team that feels like that's not really reliable, like this one, where a lot of people are all over the place and really not doing anything, right? Like if you look, everyone on my team is negative other than my Viscous and me. If you have a team like that, then it's better to split push, and it's better to look for safe objectives and money rather than to like keep on fighting or try to keep on forcing team fights and getting more and more behind. But yeah, throughout the last few minutes we've all been behind, not by much, but we're behind by a bit. I realize they're fighting in my secret shop, so I'm trying to help. I think we catch the Warden out here, but now I'm playing safe-ish. I do have the TP on level 3 now, and this is a really big power spike for me because I can teleport around every 15 seconds, and it gives me bullet shield every 15 seconds, right? So I can basically initiate a fight, and if I play it smart and safe, I can still use the TP again to get out, right? Before this point, before I have the TP on level 3, I usually play it safer. But yeah, so we get the Walker. We get the Walker. There's 2 people on me, but I realize I'm pretty safe. Yeah, not the best movement by me. I don't know why this chainsaw keeps on playing. Really weird bug. I think it's because it didn't connect until the Warden died. This is gonna stop any second, surely. How is this chainsaw still playing? Bebop is ganking me from behind. At this point, I might be dead. I might be caught out. Yeah. Okay. So, I put pressure on the walker, right? And my team got the other walker, so that's good. I see my team fighting a 3v3 over there. But now, two of them died. At this point, I should back out. I should back out right now. Right? This is super risky. I keep on playing here. There's no reason for me to be here, basically. I think I thought I could maybe kill the enemy Vindicta, and I was relying on my lift too much, but he has, I think, metal skin. Oh, ethereal shift, yeah. So what he did is, like, he just baited my ult. I ult him, but I can't shoot him. And then the warden comes in with his speed, and I just end up dying. And I deserve to die here. Very poor play by me. But this point is looking pretty bad, right? I'm like the only person with damage on my team. And the enemy team took a lot of map control. Objective-wise, we're still doing okay, right? We get one walker, they got 2 of ours. So I saw the haze was pushing left. So I go over because I know the haze is pretty far in my territory. And I think there's a pretty good chance because I see other people on the map or saw other people on the map. There's not a big chance there's more than one person here. But what you will see is I will end up getting punished for having not enough info quite easily, right? I go to the camp, I look for the haze and I hear the invis like sound pop up and I know she's around me. And at this point I should have just teleported out. I know my Yamato is coming, but I should have just teleported out. Instead I get slapped, ulted, right? And slowed and can't use the TP. I don't know if there was silencer. There was something. I just didn't TP out in time, basically. Yeah, so now it's looking really bad. Just died twice in the span of a minute for no reason. They get another tower of ours. We have 1 tower left. All the lanes are kind of pushed to our side. The enemy has a lot of map control. They're basically free to farm both jungles as they please. So here I am thinking, how do we turn this fight around? Playing safe, getting money, right? Going for the next best item. I am built pretty tanky here. I went for improved bullet armor because they have a haze and a Vindicta that is building bullet damage, and the warden seems to have a lot of bullet damage as well. Usually I go for, in most games I go for improved spirit. But yeah. Playing safe. And here I got kinda, this kinda upset me. You still might say this is my fault, but so I go out, push out the lane, and I know they're pushing my walker, right? I know they're pushing my walker as 4. So I come over and I call for my team to team fight, right? Because there's only 4 people here and everyone on my team, minus the Whisker that's gonna respawn, is alive and we can rotate over and maybe have a fight here, right? So I walk over, they turn on me, right? I get out. And I could have walked more, but I figured at this point that my team maybe put enough pressure on them to where they can't all rotate for free. It is still my fault for not realizing they're all pushing me. I thought it was only the Vindicta overstepping, right? And I knew she was gonna fly around the corner. So I lift, but I get instantly blown up because there's actually 5 people on me. So they just have better team synergy. And now we are behind by quite a lot. So TLDR, I played a really solid mid and early game myself, right? While my team was feeding, but now I kinda cause us to lose team fights or do poorly in team fights for the last few minutes. And even in this one, we're actually still trading down, right? I mean, I'm dead. We're still trading down. I think we might end up, no, we don't even end up getting another kill. I went for toxic bullets, by the way, here. Usually when they build for a lot of lifesteal and a lot of like tankiness, like the warden, right? And the bebop, toxic bullets are almost always worth it on Wraith. It's a really, really good item to stop people from healing. I buy it against Infernus basically every single game. I will go against Infernus. But yeah, here is also where the power of like farming and knowing where to be comes in, right? I'm still by far the richest person on the team and almost the richest person on the map. And here's the first time where I'm like, okay, team, we haven't really had a team fight once, right? In the early game, they stacked S5 and beat us. I'm like, let's fight together and get a pick off, right? So my team actually listens. We group up around middle as 5. /6. Someone in our spawn is AFK. I catch the Warden off, and he goes into the sewers, and we end up getting a free kill. So that's really, really essential for us. And yeah, at this point I realize there's a pocket right in front of us and a Vindicta right in front of us, but the rest of them are on the other lane. We know that because our Yamato is fighting, so we also get that kill, and now I'm trying to help the Yamato. And yeah, the enemy team is just a bit too far forward here. The enemy team is just a bit too far forward here. We're already up 2, and for once we're actually in a team fight. And notice how... I mean, my team didn't really do that much here, but me just having other teammates here that can like protect me and save me from the back is really valuable, right? Wraith, haste does not do enough damage to me even in ult to kill me. So now we're still behind in money, but all of a sudden it's looking pretty good again. We're stacked together for the first time in this game. I don't know what my... I remember this game now really well, because like this is the first time we were doing really well, and then my Viscous decides to just run into their spawn alone. Jesus. Get the Walker, and here I catch the Vindicta off. I get the then Snare. She's 1. I missed the card. It was pretty bad movement by me, not gonna lie. But like, yeah, she had to move forward into my team. So we get the kill anyways. And here they keep on pushing in. And we're up, right? This is like, they shouldn't be able to do that. But, okay. So like, yeah. Oh my god. Man. So... You know, like, of course you have to kind of be able to rely on your teammates. And in this case, it's actually, like, this should be an easy win for us, right? Like, it's a 2 versus 4. The Yamato just ends up farming a random lane and a mini creep camp instead of helping us. My shift gets bursted with a pocket ult. And then my Paradox just decides to leave. He has, by the way, this is a cooldown visual bug. He has all the cooldowns up, basically. He has Warp Stone, and more importantly, he has a shield, right? That can save them. And he just decides to leave, when he could easily have saved me there. Please look out for your teammates, right? Right? We fight here. It's good, it's good. It's looking up. They engage in a 2v4, or 2v3. I try to get out, and my half HP, my Paradox is still above half HP, and he has wall up. He could just like put a wall down and I would probably live here. But he just leaves. And I end up dying for it. But, I mean, if you press tab, it makes sense. 4 and 8. By the way, AP is more important than money. AP is the ability points you have. And some objectives, like killing towers early, or dropping the urn, gives you money, but also gives you more AP. So sometimes when you have games where it feels like it should be even, but it's not, it's probably because the enemy team has a lot of AP compared to you. Just means they have more to do. But this game is now very even. This is actually one of those examples. You see this? Yeah. They have more ability points than us while having less money because they did more urns and probably got more objectives. But yeah. Ability points are actually really important. Especially early game, if you're only like behind like 2-3k and it feels like you're getting hard stomped, it's probably because they have way more levels than you. So they can use their abilities better. At this point, we are getting towards the late game, I'd say, or we're already in late game where we should really group up and fight as 6. My team didn't want to group up there, but they commit on me, use a lot of cooldowns, and I get out for free. So at this point, I'm really like, hey guys, let's group up. So I'm even walking towards my team here. For no reason other than to be with them in case the enemy engages us. Still picking up these buffs on the bridges. They're always worth it. And here I realize their tier 3 tower, or the Colossus is almost down. So I could have went for that actually. But I'm just looking for a pick-off here. Notice how I'm still sticking to my side of the D side where my team is. Right? While being in their backline. I'm looking for a lift on telekinesis here on a person that's farming. That's why I went downstairs, because sometimes you find someone on the shop, right? But in this case, I find the pocket. He doesn't react in time. I get the lift, free instant kill. And now we're grouped up. And this is all we need to snowball a fight now, right? We're up 1. My team is chasing the haze. We get the haze kill as well. And now the enemy can either decide to contest us, but they're probably not gonna win because they're down. So they're not. So I make the call for mid because we're all there. My Yamato is pushing the tower instead of helping us. It's an okay call. It's an okay call on the Yamatos. Like, at least we get the walker. It's always worth it. As long as he comes back fast enough. And funnily enough, it actually bought us... well, they wouldn't have contested either, I think. They had 7, but they only had 4 people. But, like, it made them rotate. So actually not a bad play by my Yamato, I guess, in that sense. And now I really want to finish the game, and I call for push together. I say, let's push lane together. And I think I called this lane out. But the rest of my team went, like, back. Again, not the highest level game, but here I actually find them farming the creep camp and they don't know I'm here yet. Even though they should, I just kill creeps here. You know, they have no clue. So I wait a second, and as soon as I see they engage, I commit. At this point, I'm more farmed than anyone on the team, on the enemy team. We get the Warden kill for free. We get the Bebop kill for free. Didn't even need 6 of my teammates. And now it's just cleanup time. Good swap by my Paradox. Another kill. They commit. But it's too late for them at this point. And you might think this looked like a very simple game. And yet it wasn't the most complex. And it wasn't the most high level for sure. This was not a very good team. But neither was the enemy, you know. But in the end, what really mattered is my choices. And while I didn't play this game perfectly, I made enough good calls compared to the enemy to where now I'm just so far ahead of everyone else. And they just keep on staggering. We get the kills. And at this point, I think it's over. But that was an example of, you know, your team being not the greatest. I'm moonwalking. Michael Jackson, let's go. Boop, boop. Your team being not the greatest and the enemy team also not being the greatest. But you being able to lift the game. With enough smart choices. I just realized I didn't talk about target priority at all in this because there were very few team fights. So next video, we're gonna go into I'm gonna check out a replay that is gonna be really team fight heavy. If you want to help me out, this is a new channel, my second channel. We are planning to get to 10k subs this year. So if you like the content, hit the sub button. Would actually help me out a lot. I know everyone and their mother says that at this point, and I actually hate selling out on YouTube, but yeah. Sorry for my dying voice. I am now gonna drink tea and die less, hopefully. Bye bye.